Hey, Young Turks, this is Nomi Konst here. So I am really upset right now as a reporter more than anything because the Associated Press has reported a story today saying that essentially that the race is over for the DNC chair. If you haven't heard, former Vice President Biden has endorsed former Secretary of Labor Tom Perez. Now, I have been going to all of the DNC futures forums, and I'm going to be frank with you. There are only a couple of reporters that go to these, and if they're not local reporters, there's really only 2 or 3 national reporters that are there, and they're covering the race very, very closely, not just watching it on live stream, but going there and interviewing DNC members, audience members, the candidates themselves, the vice chair candidates, the secretary candidates, all these different candidates. So the Associated Press today used one unnamed source, a Democratic strategist, which I'm going to explain to you in a second what that means. One unnamed Democratic strategist source saying that Secretary Perez is up 66 votes in the DNC member count. Now, of course, all of these candidates are whipping votes. They're calling the members, they're meeting with them across the country. But the reality is that there are a lot of unknown factors here right now. Number one, there are like 14 candidates in the race. If a couple of these candidates step out, it could favor some of the front runners. I mean, the front runners are basically right now Secretary Perez and Keith Ellison, but that does not mean that these other people are to be discounted. They have really strong communities, and this is one of those situations where it's not like the superdelegates. They're not going. These DNC members, for the most part, are holding cards close to their chest. Some of them have said that they're endorsing a certain candidate, but there are a lot of unknowns, and there are a lot of DNC members who have not decided yet. And frankly, there are a lot who haven't been showing up to these forums, and they're waiting for the final DNC forum in Baltimore before the vote in Atlanta on February 25th. Okay, so the vote is going to be February 25th, where all these members get together. You have 24 days. You have support DNC members who are undecided, and some DNC members who are whipping for certain candidates. Now, the Democratic strategist, the one Democratic strategist that the Associated Press thought was a good source, is unnamed. Well, what does that mean? Who would have the information? Who is going through the list or is trusting the information that would be coming out? Well, probably somebody at the DNC or somebody who's a consultant affiliated with one of the candidates. When you say Democratic strategist, it's usually a consultant. I find this really troubling because that would mean that they're calling all the DNC members and trusting what they're saying to begin with, or they're literally on Tom Perez's campaign right now. So why would the Associated Press trust this information? And why would they put a story out there saying it's pretty much done, it's a done deal because he's up by 66 votes? Listen, it could be anybody up by 66 votes. I don't care. The problem is there are 2, 3 reporters covering this at the scene. Just 2 or 3 reporters covering this at the scene at the DNC forums, and the Associated Press is not there. They're nowhere to be found. You have Dave Weigel from the Washington Post, Gabe DiBenedetti from Politico, and me. And sometimes you have some local reporters who are there from Phoenix, where the first forum was, or Houston. Now, this weekend, we're going to Detroit to cover the DNC forum, and I am going to be interviewing as many DNC members as possible, as well as trying to get as much information about this vote tally. I don't think this is the typical type of vote tally. I think a lot of people are saying things right now to the press. But frankly, I don't think some of these DNC candidates are going to be, the chair candidates are going to be in the race in the coming weeks. And you'll see factions. So if one person steps out and endorses another candidate, you'll see some of their supporters go over to that side. So it is incredibly irresponsible for the Associated Press to be publishing a story 24 days before an election when so many DNC members have not decided and are holding cards close to their chest right now, and when you have 14 candidates right now. It is incredibly irresponsible. And frankly, I don't know how much Vice President Biden's endorsement really makes a difference. Endorsements don't make a difference, I think, that as much as people think when it comes to voters. It might be different for DNC members, but when I talk to these DNC members, they're talking about moving away from the DNC. They want a decentralized DNC. They want a DNC that's not spending all of its money on ad buys, Democratic consultant, and more of it on states for organizing, recruiting candidates, training candidates, building up parties so that they can have, real democratic leadership in every single state, and not just saying that, but explaining that. And I'm working on a story right now about that. I think, again, very irresponsible of the Associated Press to report this, but even more irresponsible that their unnamed source is a consultant who probably has vested interests in one of these candidates. I'm going to leave it at that. We're about to cover a protest here at Uber, but I wanted to give you a quick update. You can find the link on my Twitter and my response. And if you know any DNC members, and if you can let the Associated Press know, this is incredibly irresponsible and bad reporting once again. All right, thank you guys.